Hello, my name's Alison Coleman and I'm the Disability Inclusion Technical Advisor at World Vision Vanuatu. It's a privilege today for me to be able to share some of the ways the team here at World Vision Vanuatu are working to ensure the needs of some of our most vulnerable groups, such as women and people with disabilities, are being considered in a meaningful way through our current Epic Life program. So to start with a little background, Vanuatu is a small island nation made up of 83 islands located in the South Pacific Ocean. In 2019, World Vision Vanuatu worked in collaboration with key national and international partners to undertake a large-scale study to help the team understand the experiences of water and sanitation for people living in the most remote islands in the north of Vanuatu. The study, called the Water, Women and Disability Study, provided the team with the opportunity to gather information from more than 56,000 people from more than 11,000 households, with a particular focus on the experience of women and people with disabilities. One of the key findings of the study with regard to sanitation was that 45% of all households reported using toilets that did not meet adequate hygiene standards, and that 32% of people with disabilities were unable to use a toilet without coming into direct contact with urine and feces every time. The distance to the latrine, unsafe route to reach it, lack of lighting, lack of walls or door for privacy, and lack of support structure to sit on or hold on to were all reported as major barriers, making it difficult or impossible for people with disabilities to use toilets safely and hygienically. This told us that approximately 1 in every 3 people with disabilities is coming into contact with urine and feces every time they use the toilet, as well as not being able to use the toilet by themselves or as frequently as they wanted to, and was especially difficult for those who experienced incontinence and needed to access a toilet quickly. Study participants told us that they really needed a better way to be able to access and use the toilet. And this was certainly the case for Nettie, a delightful 55-year-old grandmother from Santo, who told us, "I used to be the biggest earner in my family, and then they cut my legs off. First one, then the other. I needed help to even get to the toilet. It was very embarrassing. I often wet myself and more. When it happened, I did not know what to do, and I didn't know who I could turn to ask for help." And Nettie was not alone. Across the target areas, the study found approximately 1/4 of people in Vanuatu had experienced incontinence in their lifetime, and that women were more likely to experience it than men, and people with disabilities were more than twice as likely to experience uncontrolled leakage of urine or feces as those without. For people with disabilities, the study found that 33%, or 1 in 3 people with disabilities, reported experiencing uncontrolled urinary or fecal leakage at least 3 times a week or more. And of those people experiencing incontinence, almost half did not know about or have any access to any products that could help them safely manage their incontinence independently at home. Like Nettie, another respondent told us, "Occasionally I'll try to get to the toilet, but it will come before I reach the toilet, so I urinate on my clothes. Sometimes I can see other people watching me, so I'll be ashamed. Then I'll cry and come back inside. I didn't want to leave my home. I didn't want anyone to see me like this. Even when I go outside, I can't reach the toilet, so I just have to urinate inside, in my bed." So based on these findings, World Vision Vanuatu undertook a human-centred design approach that led to the development of the Epic Life program, or Lift 'em Up Life, as it is known in local language. This program aimed to develop a new style of VIP latrine to meet the individual needs of people with disabilities, as well as raising awareness of incontinence and locally made innovative products that can help people like Nettie manage their leakage every day. As part of the Lift 'em Up Life program, 14 village health workers were trained to provide incontinence awareness and access to incontinence and personal care products such as wash mitts and reusable incontinence underwear and mattress protectors. Portable toilet chairs that were made out of recycled wooden pallets and were able to be used inside the home were provided, as well as information about how to identify the need for or construct an inclusive VIP latrine. In total, 230 individual beneficiaries received incontinence awareness messaging and access to locally made products, and 103 new inclusive VIP latrines were constructed across 18 communities between 2020 to 2023. In order to assess the impact of the Lift 'em Up Life program and the inclusive VIP latrines, information was gathered from a sample of 30 recipients using pre- and post-implementation surveys that were conducted by the project team at the person's home in the local language of Bislama. The 30 beneficiaries were a proportionate sample of the pilot project and provided a representative spread of gender, age, disability type, and geographical location. Results of the data collection found that having awareness of and access to these simple local products had a significant impact on the lives of people with disabilities and their carers. Prior to attending the Lift 'em Up Life program, both participating village health workers, shown here, and community members all reported having either very little or no knowledge of disability, incontinence, or incontinence management. Some of the common strategies reported by community members were to restrict food and water consumption and prevent community participation due to fear of soiling or ridicule. One of our participants told us, "Before the training, I used to treat people with disabilities more like animals. I would hold back from feeding him or giving him water so he didn't grow big and need to urinate so much. I kept him inside the house with the door shut. I was afraid of what others would think and say." Participants reported that by using incontinence products or an inclusive toilet, they had experienced a significant reduction in the burden of care on their family members, who were often women or young girls, and who had restricted community participation opportunities, like being able to go to school, instead needing to stay at home and help with toileting of family members during the day or at night. Nettie actually told us, "Thanks to the Lift 'em Up Life program, now I know how to do things quicker and better, so I don't need my granddaughter to stay at home with me all day. I can go outside and she can go to school in the mornings while I look after myself. Now I know that this is not a punishment from God. It's just a new chapter in my life." My granddaughter was happy to be able to go back to school and be with her friends. Another participant, 73-year-old Anika Bolan from the small island of Vanuatu, told us, "Before the training, I couldn't do many things. I couldn't even leave my house because I was so embarrassed. Now I have a new understanding and new ways and things to help manage my leakage. I used to have to hide away because I was ashamed, but now I can go back to church. I will use the things you gave me. They will help me a lot." Results from the pilot of the new inclusive VIP latrines, shown here on the left in blue, indicated that prior to the installation of the new latrine, the majority of participants experienced difficulties accessing their toilets because of the distance located from their homes and fear of injury from falling down on rough or uneven terrain. This was certainly the experience of Lois, a grandmother who lives in an urban area of Santo and received a right below knee amputation in 2020. Although Lois lives in an urban area of Luganville and has a wheelchair, she still faces many challenges with safe and independent access to sanitation facilities at her home. In order for her to access her closest toilet, she struggles to wheel the long distance over uneven and rocky ground with sticks, branches, and many other obstacles in her path. Once at the toilet, Lois needs to get down off her wheelchair and crawl along the ground to go inside. This means she's at high risk of injuring herself, especially after her amputation, from the rough stones, lack of privacy and security, and then having to balance on one leg without having anything sturdy to sit on or hold on to inside of the toilet. Having a toilet that was closer to her home, that she could easily wheel to and up the ramp with a gentle sloping gradient and handrails to a flat platform at the top, and greater space inside to turn her wheelchair around, and enough space to have a carer to assist if required, all made a significant improvement to access for Lois. She also had a new door that opens outwards with a wider, clear opening space to get her wheelchair comfortably inside, and a door handle that she can access and lock from the inside to allow her to have increased security and privacy when using the toilet. Like Lois, the majority of recipients surveyed, shown here in orange, reported in the post-implementation survey that they now felt that they had significantly improved ease of access due to the toilet being closer to their home and having increased confidence to access safely without fear of falling down on rough ground. Prior to the installation of his new inclusive latrine, Alfred, seen here in Gower, often experienced reduced hygiene when accessing and using the toilet. Although Alfred could use his tricycle to wheel himself close to the toilet, he would then need to hop off the bike onto the ground and pull himself along using his hands and coming into contact with wet mud, rotting vegetation, animal excrement, and other unhygienic materials along the way. So for Alfred, the ability to be able to wheel himself inside the toilet and then transfer easily onto the seat riser that has been tailor-made to be the same height as his tricycle seat, so he can easily slide across using the handrails for an easy, safe transfer without needing to come into contact with the ground. This has made an enormous difference to his ability to hygienically access the toilet safely and with dignity. The same for Rebecca, this 80-year-old grandmother from rural Santo who lost her sight 2 years ago. Prior to the installation of her new latrine, every time Rebecca needed to go to the toilet, she would depend on one of her grandchildren to lead her along the path to her bush toilet, where she would struggle to balance on slippery sticks over a hole without anything safe to sit on or hold on to. This has a huge impact on her safety, independence, and dignity every day. Like Rebecca, the majority of people surveyed reported coming into contact with urine and feces each time they used the toilet prior to the installation of their new inclusive VIP latrine. They also have reported having no supports inside the toilet, such as something sturdy to sit on or hold on to. However, after construction of the new inclusive VIP latrine, Rebecca had increased safety and independence and was now able to find her own way to the toilet using a rope handrail in her home, along with having a sturdy seat to sit down on inside the toilet and a rail to guide her for support.
Yes.
Ikut, ah?
Yes.
Yes.
Results found that through the provision of the sturdy seat risers with different heights, sizes, and handrail configurations, the majority of participants, shown now in orange, were now able to use the toilet with greater safety and independence and without coming into regular contact with urine or feces. So demonstrating an 80% increase in improved hygiene and a 74% increase in safety and independent usage, and for people like Rebecca, giving her back her independence, dignity and pride every day. So overall, we found that having this human-centered design approach with locally led solutions has resulted in positive and meaningful impacts in the lives of the women and people with disabilities in Vanuatu. We have found that providing increased awareness of and access to locally made sanitation and personal care products has enabled us to not only meet individual needs in a meaningful way, but has also contributed to creating economic opportunities for local women, including those with disabilities, who are earning money by creating the products and using their new income to support their children to go to school. So thank you so much for the opportunity to present our findings to you today, and thank you to all of our partners for their assistance and support with the development and implementation of the EPIC Life or Lift 'em Up Life program in Vanuatu.